Okay, so as folks settle in, I see we have a Riverside chat here. I want to say welcome to today's episode of Group Therapy on Padres Hot Tub. It is Friday, September 1st. We are recording this in the lunchtime hour for context. Padres fresh off of a deeply dispiriting loss. I will start the show with a confession, boys. Yesterday was the first game of 2023 that I did not consume in any form or fashion.
Amazing.
Yeah, I will confess that right up top as the leader of the pack, that I was negligent in my duties yesterday. My son has become a huge Big Brother fan, and I figured out a way to fool Paramount Plus so that we could watch the East Coast feed at 6:00, so he could watch it before his bedtime. And then that rolled into the challenge, and I watched that. Then I was like, "Wait, are the Padres? Oh, the Padres are playing." And I opened my phone and it said 7-0. I'm like, okay, cool, never mind. And then we went on and played a board game after that, and I just didn't even put it on in the background, radio or TV. We're at that point now. We're at that point when it comes to the 2023 season. It's over. We're just waiting for the shouting to stop.
I have a feeling that several of the guys in the uniform, if given the choice to just kind of have their statistics go on prorated, so that their money stays okay, but they don't actually have to go, I think they would choose that option at this point. Like, the teams mailed it in for sure.
It's I had the same reaction, Craig, watching, where I was cooking dinner and I got the buzz notifications on my phone of just the MLB app, and I saw it and I literally had no reaction and actually a slight amount of relief, because if they were putting up if they were the ones doing all the scoring, that little fire would light inside of me, but it's painful to ignite it every time. You know what I mean? It just takes a little bit more out of me. So when I saw it, it was blissful surrender. I was like, okay, this is good. We're sliding further into tanking territory. This is a good thing. So
they're the shitty partner that does something so shitty that it's easy to break up with them.
Yep.
Yeah. I really am underlining what I said on Monday night's show, which is that more than anything, I want them to tank this season. I mean, yes, for the top 6 draft pick, if we can get it, great. I feel like it's going to be the ultimate Spinderella that we finish 6th and then the 10th place team jumps up and gets number 1 and we get bumped to 17, just like that. That would just seem incredibly deeply appropriate. I'd laugh out loud. I'd laugh out loud if that happened. But with that, we're now in this giving up the ghost period for the team. We're in this point where I want to see this bloody run differential, this ridiculous run differential that's going to be used as the entire justification for front office and player decisions in the winter, to stop being the crutch that the Padres front office can use. I'd love to see a nice solid minus 75 month of September in the RD to put us into the red, so that we don't get to be one of 3 teams that had a plus 50 run differential with a record this bad and they all won the next year. I want to take away the excuses for this.
Do you remember, a month ago, I said it on the show a little bit, but I put it in the menu chat when we were putting together the show, that maybe the run differential is the anomaly. Maybe that performance is the anomalous thing that's happening in the season, and that will eventually, go away, and we'll get to see that it's truly just a bad team. And that the thing that they've been holding on to, all this losing is anomalous because the underlying peripherals are strong. I'm like, maybe they're just really big losers, and that the statistical anomaly is the big blowout wins that they had in the beginning and middle parts of the season.
I'm ready to buttress this, but Raphie, your thoughts?
He's thinking.
Oh, sorry, I froze. No,
You froze.
The thing is, Chris, you have it like it's both. It works both ways. The fact that they are
I'm scissoring it.
no. Like you're not scissoring it. They're
Oh.
gingerly touching tips right here. They're not.
Guys, we are Riverside Video Live. You will see it on YouTube next week. We'll show the there's an excited guest to come. It's big.
Also, I just want to point out for people who are actually here with us watching on Riverside, first of all, thank you. We're doing something for the first time. We're trying to evolve. We're trying a new thing. You're doing it with us. That's great. If you are on a computer and you want to call in, there is an option for you to do that below us. And you'll type in your question and you have the option to do it over voice. You have the option to join us on video and you can have your beautiful face with us. That would be very cool. That was part of the reason why we wanted to do this, is because it's just like a nice thing to be able to see you when we're asking questions. So you have that option as a PhD patron. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about with the run differential stuff, I have a little bit of bad news for you, Craig, which is that even if their run differential gets down to 0, if they get, in this last month have a negative 50 run differential, it will still be anomalous that they will be that far. If they have an even run differential and they're 20 games below 500, which is what having a negative 50 running differential would be, that's still anomalous. You know what I mean? And the fact that they are losers, and that, like Chris, what you were saying, it goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, and I just want to plug a little bit, because John and I just recorded yesterday for Positive Replacement. This weekend, we are going to be having an episode that's about tanking and like what specifically tanking does, like to tank or not to tank for the Padres, and all the draft implications and everything. But one of the things that we lay out is just how much more valuable it is to get a top 6 pick versus getting a back half of the first round pick. It goes from having about a 50 to 60% chance of having like a stud to about like a 10 to 20% chance. So you want that. You want that.
It's the only thing I've got left, is to embrace the tank, to root for losses. And then when I see 7-0 down in the 4th, I'm like, okay, cool. There's one to write off, and there's one I don't have to worry about. Yes. Big ups to everybody watching us on YouTube. And I should have been a better host and started off the show more formally with this, but we are taking this to YouTube as well, where next week our intent is for this show, whether it's Thursday or Friday, to be live on YouTube, viewable on YouTube, free, viewable on YouTube for everyone. It's the participation within that will still remain a huge bonus for our patrons, that they are the only ones that can be inside the video chat, come up, be a guest on the show, but we'll have the live YouTube chat there alongside. We'll be able to participate with viewers in that way as well. So really exciting. Here it is. We waited for once again.
Do we tell him
shittiest
now,
month of the year for Padres baseball?
Do we tell him the true capabilities and introduce our guest of the day?
You have not seen the true
new
power.
Padre Jurickson Profar joins us on the show.
Hey
guys, what's going on? I'm back in the dugout. 2022 vibes.
Yeah. Our friends at Gwintelligence, a podcast that is very much not dead nor killed. And we are so grateful once every 6 to 8 weeks on average when HJ and Corey get together for their show. They got together at a park today for a 3-minute emergency podcast for Jurickson Profar.
For me? Just for me, Jurickson Profar?
Indeed, Jurickson, because your vibes and your smile remain immaculate. Is this what we're going to blame it all on, guys?
You too, Craig. Don't worry. I'm back. The winning starts tonight. Everybody, that was Jurickson Profar joining us.
Welcome, Jurickson. Thank you so much.
On my feed.
So what? If everyone gets along and is happy the next week, then they just effed up by not signing Jurickson Profar's negative 1.9 WAR self to the club.
I actually think this is a good look for AJ, because it shows like he made the right choice. Like, he didn't go with the vibes entirely. You know,
I think it's a good thing that we signed Profar for a completely different reason, because here's what's going to happen. They sign him on a minor league deal. The rosters expand today. They're going to bring him up. That in and of itself is so stupid, because we could be bringing up a minor leaguer in our system who can develop with zero stakes at the major league level. And instead we're going to bring up negative 1.9 F4 player Jurickson Profar, who probably won't be on the team next year and is just there. So like what? Like mommy and daddy don't fight at the dinner table? Like, it's like,
you don't know that. This might be them getting a look at him, Raphie.
you never know that. And here's the other win-win. When they inevitably make that dumb decision and he comes up, and if they miraculously go on some type of run, Chris, I will believe that curses are real if that happens. If Jurickson Profar comes in and the Padres win out the season, I'm like, you know what? You guys fucking win. I'm done. Whatever. Magic is real. Up is down. I don't care. So this is a good thing. This is all a good thing. It shows the complete ineptitude of the front office that they would do this when they inevitably do this. And there's a small chance that magic is real. And maybe it'll happen. So that's my feelings, Craig. Go Jurickson Profar. Welcome back.
Raphie, they blew it by not bringing in Alfaro for that Colombian, what do they call it? Magical surrealism or...
magical realism, yeah.
Magical realism, yeah. That's what they needed to bring. They screwed it up. I don't know what Curaçao's got.
Could they be doing something we actually want? Embracing the tank? Like, the way you tank is you put bad players on the field and you reap the rewards. This is how tanking works. Like, I'm a fan of the NBA, okay? Like, and I made this analogy on Ben and Woods this morning, and I'll make it on Padres Hot Tub as well. Like, look at the Dallas Mavericks this year. The Dallas Mavericks went all in at the trade deadline. They traded for Kyrie Irving, for goodness sakes.
Ugh.
And then it didn't work out. Shockingly, it didn't work out. And they got to the end of the season, and they realized we're not going to make the playoffs, and we have a pick that if we don't finish in the top 10, we have to hand it off, I think, to the Knicks. And they did everything in their power to not win their last few games, and they just barely made it. And they picked 10th, and they got to keep their pick. And people aren't like, the Dallas Mavericks have ruined basketball forever with their callous. Like, no, it's the NBA. So, like, honest to God, Seth Lugo, go take a break, brother.
Yeah.
Go take a break.
Good
Head to the
season.
bullpen. Blake Snell gets to start out the year. Like, he can finish the year in the rotation and go claim that Mark Davis level Cy Young. That will be like, oh, cool. You remember when Blake Snell won a Cy Young with San Diego? Wasn't that weird? You know, kind of like, remember when Mark Davis won a Cy Young? That was weird.
It would be his second.
It will be, but his first year. And like, let Jay Groom start. Let the Waldron Cauldron bubble. In fact, tell the Waldron Cauldron he's in a 3-day rotation, and it's nothing but knucklers. No more cutters. No more fastballs. It's all nucky all the time, and you go every 3 days the rest of the year.
So Craig basically wants banana ball. He wants back flips, not bat flips. That sometimes happens as it is. He wants people doing somersaults backwards and catching fly balls in center field. That's Jurickson. Jurickson's your new center fielder.
Yes.
Trent Grisham's he's at first base hitting cleanup.
Yeah, clean him up. I think he should clean up. Why is it worse? How and why is it worse? You know, Soto, can we talk about this for just a second? For just a second. This is a sidebar. Your Honor, I apologize. This is a sidebar. And we have a caller that's getting ready to come up too. Juan Soto doesn't like to bat second. Juan Soto has made this clear. He's made it public. He has a rationale, which is that he likes to hit third and see what happened with the first two hitters, and he gets more of a look at the pitcher, blah, 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 blah. Any normal good, well-run organization would just lead off Juan Soto. I think if he was a Dodger, you would read the story about how he embraced the leadoff role in spring training at Camelback Ranch.
I think the Yankees, his ego at the door.
Yeah, the Yankees would lead him off. The Rays would lead him off. I think the Rangers would lead him. I think almost everyone would lead off Juan Soto. We bat him third, but then Bob Melvin, still desperately trying to pretend like he gives a shit about this season, shuffled up the lineup last weekend and put Tatis fourth and put Soto second. And Ha-Seong Kim led off 3 straight games with a base hit. And Juan Soto bunted 3 straight games. Juan Soto went full on Pittsburgh Pirates Jay Bell, number 2 hitter, automatic bunt when Andy Van Slyke gets on base. And I thought it was bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. I thought it was a petulant display. Like Juan Soto, 3 true outcomes Soto, suddenly embraces the sacrifice, which is objectively a ridiculous play for specifically Juan Soto to make. Like Juan Soto should bunt in one situation when the shift was allowed. And when everyone was in right field and the left side was completely empty. If you wanted to lay one down there for an automatic hit, fine. Juan Soto should never be bunting with Ha-Seong Kim on first base. It's a selfish, petty display of, oh, you want me to hit second? Oh, I'll hit second like Omar Vizquel or Ozzie Smith hit second. I'll just bunt every time. It really bothered me, and it helped me move Soto into the column of maybe he's been part of the psychological problem of this team.
Craig, it's for the team, he says. It says it's so the team could score runs because everybody else sucks so much. That is part of the hubris. That is part of this team needs some foundation in humility. Like letting these guys decide where they hit, just up to their whim. They get to choose. It's an act that undermines the authority of the person filling out the lineup. And like you say, it's bullshit, man. Xander Bogaerts playing shortstop automatically as the 3rd best shortstop on the team. That's bullshit. That's part of the curse. This fucking hubris, this arrogance. You know, a lot of other teams don't display what the Padres have, and we like when the swag is helping them win. But when you come into a season expecting to be in the NLCS, you know, in April, in March, hubris, man, it'll bite you in the ass. And Juan Soto, yeah, man, he has that false humility sometimes. And that's when he said it was for the team. I love bunting. I fucking enjoy the hell out of a good bunt. A good tactical bunt gets me going, baby. But doing it in the first inning when you are the team leader in slugging, stupid.
Yeah,
and right, and a perversion of the TTO that we are currently building a thesis is why the Padres are so unclutched. Like it's the literal opposite of all of it.
Yeah. I think you guys said everything that I want to say about this. And we've got Hayden that's waiting patiently. So we're going to try and have our first caller. Let's see how this goes.
You're the man, Hayden.
Hayden, are you there? Hang on. I see the 3 dots.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. What's up, man?
Hayden.
It's your neighborhood friendly masochist. What's going on, guys?
Hey, thank you for telling us your name. Even though you still kind of have a little bit of an anonymous witness thing going on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
don't
witness
improve
protection.
The lighting. Yeah, exactly.
Witness protection. This is a CIA design disguise. Yeah. Real quick. So everybody's talking about tanking for picks and, you know, just trying to get to the race to the bottom, which I understand that. That's very fair. What do we think is actually going to change if we actually get one of these picks? Do we have any confidence at all that the front office isn't going to completely, botch the development? I mean, Gore, I just think of those I don't know when it was. It was like back in 2020 when Gore had to spend extended time in Peoria and stuff with the blisters and shit. And that gave me the
That was a
heebie-jeebies.
bit lost. That was a bit of a lost season throughout the whole league developmentally. Just in fairness.
True. But yeah, I just don't have much confidence that even if we do get, say, the number one pick, that we're not just going to completely derail that young man's, whoever he is, development. And I don't know. And even for me, resident doomer, this is tough.
It is tough. It is tough, masochist. And, what you're saying, this becomes Doom Hill for the Padres. Like, if you live on Doom Hill, there's no reason to support the Padres anymore because nothing we do is right. The other teams do it better. Yeah. So it's LOL, nothing matters. You really get to nihilism in a quick hurry when you think, well, it doesn't, when you literally, think about what you just said. Yeah. Who cares if we get the number one pick? Because we'll probably just screw it up. Okay, now Matt Bush, got it.
There's some PTSD there.
Right. Understand. It's in our bones. It's deep seated within us. However, I would also independently say, if you tell me AJ Preller gets a top 5 pick, he's probably going to find a big leaguer.
Yeah.
Like I feel very, and Mackenzie Gore's a big leaguer.
Yeah.
Like he's a big leaguer right now. He's having
100%.
a big league season right now. That alone justifies being the number 3 pick in the draft, that he is up and at a young age, a very steady part of a major league rotation.
What was CJ? Was CJ like a 9?
He was
6. He was number 6. Yeah. And he also,
and he is a big leaguer having a productive and a good season. Yeah. It's built into a good season at what, age 22?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really do feel like that one thing, I'm fine with that. Like AJ's good at hunting. He's not good at cooking.
Look at the international guys he's gotten.
Right. He's good at hunting. He can bring the meat. He can find the vegetables. He has no idea what to do when he gets in the kitchen. And so he calls Uber Eats and he gets the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
And then throws it on top. Oh, look, I put gold leaf on top of this. Now it's good.
Remember how excited though we were for Michel Baez, for Morejon, for Morejonia, for
that class, bro. We still have the
Tirso's
banner.
Still hanging on.
We won the 2016 International Draft Class champions.
But anyways, I'll let somebody else come up. Thanks guys for having me on. This is a cool new format. I like it.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Masochist. Man, I seriously think that my question is this when it comes to the front office. I have no doubt that if we got a lottery pick, we would pick someone good. Like, also, as John is pointing out in the chat, like CJ Abrams was the number 6 pick, and there were 6 clearly good players, and we had the 6th, and CJ fell to us, basically. So it was kind of the no-brainer pick. And, but between CJ and Mackenzie Gore and like all, those guys would probably be on the Padres, maybe, if we didn't trade for a generational talent when we did. So, who's to say that those guys wouldn't be developmental success stories, like if I'm being generous. But my question is, if we get a lottery pick, like, how is there any record we can have in which Peter Seidler wakes the fuck up and says, okay, I need to make a change? Like, that's my question. Like, if we don't win 70 games this year, like, which by the way, at this rate, like we're pacing out to about 70 wins. Like, if we stay on this track,
right?
Like, can they seriously, like, legitimately bring this combination of leadership back if that's the result? Like, I'm genuinely asking.
I like in the beginning of the season, early part of the season, I couldn't imagine them bringing him back if they didn't make the playoffs, man. So. Right. Like, I hope so. Please let there be. The man needs some perspective on his operation. The man being Peter Seidler, and if 70 wins can't give you that perspective,
hey, Did either of you guys catch Major Garrett's appearance on Ben and Woods this week?
No.
Highly recommend going back, checking it on their podcast feed, which you could find in the same search engine of the where you're listening to this now, if you're listening. Major Garrett, CBS national Washington news correspondent, but lifelong Padres fan, occasional guest on Ben and Woods. He asked to come on and honestly just laid it out perfectly. And then today when I was on their show, the first thing I wanted to do was underline something he said. And I'm going to say it here as well to try and accomplish the same thing. Major Garrett said that we need to hear from the Padres front office now what an abject disappointment of a season this has been, that it's not okay. The last thing we've heard from this front office was AJ 2 weeks ago on Ben and Woods when there was 40 games left. And it was bullshit. You guys remember, it was infuriating.
Yeah.
It was infuriating how bad that interview was. And the attitude was so much of a denialism. Oh, well, there's 40 games left. There's plenty of time. Well, we're going to score a lot of runs. We're going to win a lot of games. We're going to like just completely ignoring what we've been subjected to all year. So I'm here to underline what Major Garrett said and to make it more explicit. I'm a Padres season ticket holder. I've got, as of today, 2 weeks left, whether I automatically renew for next year or whether I fill out the opt-out survey and I check out of my season tickets. I want to hear from Peter Seidler before that deadline. They know where the deadline is. They know specifically the date at which a lot of accounts lock in for 2024. And I want to hear this now, man. I want to hear it today. I want Peter Seidler to walk out into the Padres dugout and sit down and let everyone gather around him today. And the thing that we need to hear is that there will be a top to bottom assessment of what this club is not doing right. And do not throw 6-22, 0-11, we're the unluckiest team in baseball at me. There are process issues with this franchise. And quite frankly, if I hear another interview of, oh, well, boy, AJ Preller, he's just the absolute best GM. And boy, we were just so unlucky. And look at all the talent we have. It's going to tell me it's going to tell me a couple of things. It's going to tell me it's an organization in denial. And it's going to furthermore tell me that it's a very unserious organization that's not even asking basic questions. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even respect us to the level of asking very basic questions. Why do we keep getting stuff wrong that our opponents get right? Why can't we be a franchise at the Dodgers and Giants level? How can it possibly be that this team, with a $250+ million payroll, the thing that back in 2013, when we were watching horseshit baseball year after year with the annual August push to the middle and the finish of 76 and 86 and the payroll of $51 million, and we dreamed of a day when we would have the talent on our team. We watched the Cardinals come in and the Mariners come in with a lineup of all-stars and salaried players. And we go, when will our dream come true that this thing could happen for us? And now here it is, $250 million on the field. And we're talking about tanking for a top 5 pick and trying to figure out what the hell happens when we don't even get to 76 wins. We may not even get to 74 wins. The 2015 Preller should go in his first year, Padres. Are you kidding me that we are at this point as a franchise? So if there is no accounting for this, if there is no, wait a second, we aren't all that we're cracked up to be. We aren't doing it right. We're doing it wrong. What's wrong? Where is it wrong? You don't see that anything's wrong? Then you're part of the problem. You've got to go. And so we need to bring in a fresh mind with a fresh idea. Because if you don't see there's something wrong, you're out of ideas. as an executive. You're out of thoughts. You're out of ideas. You're just pressing the same button over and over again. That's where I am now. I need this from our ownership. I know I'm never going to get it from AJ Preller. I need this from our ownership, and I need it before this homestand's over, for gosh sake.
Dude,
Perfectly said, dude.
that was awesome. And
Yeah, nothing.
go ahead, Chris.
This team has the guys it has on it because AJ kept pushing the same button. Sign the superstar, get the big name, load that lineup as heavy as you can. And then it went out, and this year, and it got its ass kicked by every AA pitcher that was called up to face it. Something is wrong.
And allow me now, Rafe, because apparently you guys didn't do this. I thought for sure you guys were this was going to be this week's show. So now this is, to me, the most important information I've seen in a very long time. And you're our wonderful compatriot, tu compadre, John Percoda, Pods Above Replacement, analytical wizard, posted this Thursday morning in our Discord. Since 2016, the bloody LA Dodgers, who we hate, and they haven't won a real World Series since 1988, and 2020 is an absolute joke, and everybody knows it. Since 2016, that franchise has outperformed its year-by-year Fangraphs projections by 58.2 wins. Okay? So Fangraphs figures out...
Is that like 8 wins a season?
Pretty much. The Padres have underperformed their Fangraphs projections by 39.9 wins in the same period of time, 2016 to today. That is a difference of 98.1 wins. Fangraphs didn't even do projections in 2015, or these numbers would be worse. In those years, from 2016 to 2023, the 2 times that the Padres did better than their Fangraphs projection was 2017 and the season that doesn't matter and doesn't count, 2020. That we all know the Padres would have had a losing record if 102 games were tacked on and Kyle Davies was your number 1 starter. And that's it. Chris Paddock and Kyle Davies and 3 bullpen days.
Zach
Davies, sorry.
Put
Who's
some
Kyle
respect
Davies?
on Zach Davies' name.
There's someone else named Kyle Davies, and I forget who it is.
Kyle.
The Dodgers, in that time, only underperformed in 2016 and 18, and that was by a total of 2 games each. Okay? Since 2019, the Dodgers have outperformed by 13.7, 6.4, 16.2, and this year, 13. The Padres have underperformed by 8, 15.7, 0.6, and this year, 15.5. So we're basically giving up 22 games a year of performance to the Dodgers every single season. And it is as simple as saying, right now, if you give Friedman and Preller the same wicker basket of 4 wacky ingredients and tell them that they have 30 minutes to put together a credible entree, the Dodgers outcook the Padres. Just give them the same ingredients, and one is going to make a better meal than the other. And the numbers have proven it for 7 consecutive seasons. This is broken process. This is broken. If you don't see that this is a broken process, if you're going to go, oh, well, you know what? Here's our win condition. As a franchise, here's our win condition. Throw as much money as many 30-year-olds as possible, and then question mark, and then profit. Like, it doesn't work. We are literally counting on getting like 30 games of luck in a season. Kind of like 2022 when we led the league in 1-run wins, to even have a shot at maybe being able to knock off a dragon in a year. These numbers, Rafe, to me, these numbers were just like, Case closed. Process is broken.
Yeah. There's another thing that that John pointed out in our Pods of Replacement that's going to be coming out on Sunday that I'll just plug as a preview now, which I thought was it struck me because it's so encapsulated what is wrong with our process versus teams like the Dodgers and the Braves. The Padres, as of the time we recorded yesterday, had 7 players who had at least 479 plate appearances this year. So 7 players who have, been playing a ton, like almost every day that they can. And the Dodgers have two, Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, because they're set it and forget it type players. The Atlanta Braves have 4. Okay, so even a team like the Braves that has 7 stars, like 7 stars on their team that they could play as much as they do, they choose not to because they put them in positions to succeed. And that's the problem with the Padres. That's the problem with AJ Preller, and that's clear. And I so appreciated what you said about you need to hear from Peter Seidler, because if anything has been made clear over the last 9 years, it's that AJ Preller is never going to fucking say any of the stuff that we need him to say. He's incapable of doing it because it starts from the top when it comes to pride, being the original sin of this team, and AJ Preller has too much pride to admit when he's made mistakes. Now, we have wanted in this city forever to have ownership who are willing to invest. It goes back to Donald fucking Sterling driving down tape to bring to the sports arena because he didn't want to pay for tape for the Clippers, okay? And then it goes to the Spanoses, and it goes to the Werners and the Moores and the Morad, everyone. It goes all the way down, and we have one, and it's amazing. And rightfully, Peter Seidler has been celebrated and lifted up as he should be, because he's proving the baseball world wrong in some way. If he sticks with AJ Preller after this year, we have an ownership problem again. I'm sorry. We do, because we're into Emperor's New Clothes territory of we are just not being willing to grapple with reality. And John laid it out this morning, and Craig, I'm glad you brought it up. And it's like, how can you look at those numbers and say, like, oh, this is anything but it's just an absolutely institutional problem? And I saw in the chat, and I bet you it was said partially in jest, this is not fucking Dodger loving what we're doing right now. This is fucking grappling with reality, okay? Because I hear that, and I know it's kind of a meme, and I know it's kind of fun to say that, and like whatever. Like, do you guys want to win or not? Like, that, I'm fucking done waiting. Like, I'm really done waiting. And this was a lost year. This was a lost fucking season. Are we going to make it 2 next year? Because we can run it back. We can do it if you guys want. But I'm done. I'm done with it, Craig.
That's it. And again, it's the ask of, hey, you know what? Thank you for being a season ticket member. We raised your ticket price. Then we raised it again. Then we raised it a 3rd time. And please come back and enjoy the exact same thing with the exact same level of introspection and the exact same level of commitment to improving the project. Like, if you're telling me that what you did is okay, that's not okay. If you want to just lean on luck, you know what? You're going to fool half the pundits. Guaranteed. I read a Yahoo article that was put in our Discord yesterday. The Padres are good at baseball. They're just bad at winning baseball games. Like, that's fine and that's cute, but it's not up close. It's not up close introspective analysis, because the up close analysis of the Padres are, we consistently get less from what we've assembled, and our nearest, most important rivals consistently get more from what they assemble. And until we fix that, we are literally planning on, well, randomness in the playoffs will guide us through. That's our win condition as a franchise, is to get lucky.
Raphie, you said it's an ownership problem.
So that's the territory that we're in. Sorry, is Chris talking? I'm frozen.
It goes to what we've heard from different sources all throughout the year. Ryan Phillips, too much Morton's. The Padres are not investing in the right spots. They're willing to spend almost $300 million on what's going on the field. They're willing to do all these great giveaways to get people in the seats. But how the hell are we hearing that they're not willing to have a fully staffed, fully funded analytics department, a fully staffed, fully funded advanced scouting department? How do our lineup that costs $300 million look unprepared? Series in, series out. They don't look prepared. They don't look like they're doing their homework. They look like me in friggin' high school getting by on test scores so that you might know your history a little bit better. You've got that built up. Do your work or you're going to end up acting. Manny, you're going to end up doing fucking commercials.
You end up getting pinned for 8 months with no callback.
Hey guys, I'm pinned right now. I got pinned yesterday.
Nice.
That is awesome. Congratulations on the pin.
I'll tell you if I get it. Otherwise, I'm not telling you who pinned me.
Butterfly with your wings extended. You've been pinned neatly onto the board. Yeah, I mean, really, it's to this point. And by the way, there's going to be a month of negative feedback, financial feedback, that I would hope would at least a little bit help inform Peter Seidler, as last night was a giveaway that wasn't a sellout. And tonight is not going to be a sellout. And tomorrow is not going to be a sellout. And the rest of the year is not going to be a sellout, except for Tatis bobblehead and Bogart's giveaway jersey day. The last 5 games of the homestand, I couldn't get anybody to take my tickets. I put my tickets up for today. No one's bought them. I might wind up having to go to the game for the same reason. You know, just it's the way it goes. No one wants your tickets anymore. And as that starts to happen, there's going to be the realization of, oh, people aren't going to just accept this next year, carte blanche. Yes, we came out for you. You spent for us. We came out for you. We've come out for you all year long. We've been on this horrible ride with you all year. We've been getting scarred by this all year. And you're going to pretend to say that it's our fault for feeling bad? Because all of it was just, LOL, luck. Oh, bummer. Did you see our 1-run record? Well, we're just going to flip that next year. We don't have to do anything different. See you in 2024. Don't worry, we'll have new bobbleheads. Like, admit that what we've seen was the same thing as what you've seen. I need that. I need that connection that the Padres are upset with the way the season's gone. Because, frankly, without it, I've got a really strong feeling that I could drop those season tickets and not pay $200 a month, which is half of what we have to pay monthly for those season tickets. I have a partner that shares, and I could probably pick up tickets to almost any game I want to, except for bobblehead night and opening day next year on the secondary market, and I could pay a third as much and go to as many games as I want. So, it's time. Like, give me a reason as a fan to think that you're going to do something intelligent for 2024.
Let's go, Papa Pete.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, like, if you brought in someone from an organization that competently has a good analytics department, a good advanced scouting department, and they came in and just rehauled that side of things without changing what the team is, like you keep Soto, you do what you extend Snell, like whatever you want to do just to kind of keep the same theoretical group of guys together, but give them better tools to work with, why not? And we can just see.
Even AJ.
Yes.
Like, AJ's a fantastic scout. We're going to have a high pick in the draft. I want AJ in that process. I have a lot of faith he's going to find us a contributing major leaguer.
Yeah. But I think he's lost that right personally. And I think there's a
I'm fine if he's kept on the team, like, as your scouting.
But he's not going to take that, man. He won't even talk to the media and admit that he fucked up. You think he's going to take a demotion?
Sure. Like, you might be right. Like, that I accept that, Rafe, but it's not like a personal thing for me that I need this guy and his culture and his attitude gone from the org. It's just he's shown that he has deficiencies from an operational, perspective, and those need to be filled if the Padres want to get to where they're promising us they want to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I 100%. And I'm like, give me my druthers. And it's not to fire AJ Preller. It's to make AJ Preller the director of scouting. for the San Diego Padres and to put some, or to hire a general manager. You know, like, but I would prefer to hire a team president.
Yes.
To hire a team president, to have that Larry Lucchino style, to have another adult in the room who's done this before, who can call AJ on his bullshit and can tell Peter Seidler, no, what AJ's saying is bullshit. And we've been missing that. Now, if AJ Preller is completely unwilling to accept a new dynamic, then he does have to go, because then the problem outweighs the strength. And I've seen Cloud Surfer in our chat doing a whole thing about, well, hey, you know, be careful what you wish for. The next guy might not be as good as this guy. This guy's had the reins since this time in 2014. It's 2023. That's 10 years. We've underperformed our projections every year. Every full season, this team's gone under its Vegas win-loss preseason projection. And 2 years, it's barely gone over Fangraphs, and one of those doesn't count. So at what point? Yeah, he brings in good ingredients, and then he cooks you a shit meal. And we just go, well, he brings in good ingredients. Like, of course not. You'd get fired from the restaurant. So it's time. It's time for a reckoning from the organization. And if you're not going to let go AJ Preller, explain to me why in a real way. And if it's AJ is excellence, AJ shit's gold, then it's a perfect way of telling me I can pick up tickets on the secondary market next year. I don't have to invest in you next year.
Yeah. Well, since I just want to remind everyone, since we're coming up on the back end of the show, if you want to call in and you're on Riverside, you can do that below. Please check that. Here's a cool thing that we can do on Riverside that I just learned about. I can show you guys a video of Matt Waldron having a beautiful knuckleball. I think maybe it will work. It's supposed to. Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
Look at this.
Oh.
Look at that beautiful knuckleball. He threw
Oh my
a bunch
goodness,
of them
this
last
Riverside
night.
technology is incredible.
It's incredible. It's a little blurry, but it's okay. It'll come out good in the live feed, or in the recorded feed. But I show you that because I want a little bit of positivity right now. And one of the things that we talked about on Monday's show was like bring up guys and have them develop and have them perform. And, you know, I was like, Matt Waldron should throw 100% knuckleballs the rest of the year. And I'm here to tell you that he didn't throw 100%, but he threw a lot last night. And not only did he not give up any hits, but he was absolutely amazing with it, to the point where I'm going to see if I can now put it in our chat or something. Maybe not. Okay. He has given up his batting average on the year in the majors with the knuckleball is 0. He's not given up any hits with his knuckleball. His expected batting average is .074. Okay. It is by far and away his best pitch. And he has said in the past that if he was throwing mainly knuckleballs, he could throw 2 or 3 times a week. And
Let's do it.
Let's have.
Well, that's what in the broadcast against, oh gosh, who was it? They had a knuckleballer. Mark Grant switched places for an inning with one of the opposing team's analysts. And if anybody remembers who this individual was, because I cannot recall his name. His name wasn't Phil Necro, so he wasn't like the knuckleballer I remembered. But there's only a few of them, so if you list 3 knuckleballers, this guy's probably an analyst for the Marlins. And he was saying he's working. Yeah, Tom Candiotti. That's it. It was the Diamondbacks. That's right, Tom Candiotti. And he's worked with Matt Waldron in spring training. And he said that should be what he's throwing all the time. So, guy who had a long career in Major League Baseball throwing the knuckler says Matty needs to throw it a little bit more. And you know who else says it, Raphie? A guest on our Riverside chat hotline. Everybody, it's Ted Leitner, former Padres announcer. Hey there, Craig.
Hey,
it's so good to see you.
Oh, wait, I always told
My
you.
Padres have been doing quite good. Wouldn't you say that, Raphie?
They're
Waldron Cauldron.
They're your Padres right now. In fact, they have been decidedly your Padres this entire season.
Padres. I've been quite happy with their performance. It's been a flashback to the 70s, back when I used to drop acid with good old Ray Kroc in the parking lot after the games. Go
Now time for
my
some-
Padres.
Time for some hockey highlights. Here's a fight, and here's another fight. There were probably scores, but I didn't care. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. I love it. That's a cool bobble. When's that for? Did KFMB give that out?
I think no, yeah, they did. There it is. This is actually a dope bobble. Unlike this bobble right here. Everybody boo this bobble. It's Eric Hosmer. And then this bobble. This bobble is the corpse of Trevor Hoffman from a different reality where Trevor Hoffman liked boating.
Has really thick legs. Trevor Hoffman pear-shaped right
Well,
there.
yeah, that's because it's been soaked in salt water for 4 months, and this is how they found him.
My God. I agree with Dean in the chat. I thought that was a Woody Williams bobblehead when you pulled it up. I mean, yes, it was. They just threw a 51 on the back of it and said, here you go.
It's toffee.
Unbelievable. All right, just a couple quick things before we get out. We have some questions back on our Discord group therapy text chat, and one that I saw you put up is definitely worth discussing, Chris. Simple question. In a world where we never extended Manny Machado, and he had this season, does he even opt out, in our opinion? I'd like both of your answers, please.
Chris, you go first.
I think yes, because I think he could do better than 5,150. I just think he could do better on that second number, even it's like if it's Correa's number or whatever. And I think that if you haven't noticed, the dude has some pride and, ego. So he's probably going to do what he said he was going to do.
Yeah, I think that I think it would be close. I think that what would end up happening is he would probably stay with the Padres and he would probably restructure, and it would be basically like, I could see the Padres paying him till he's 40 years old, but maybe for like $200 million instead of $350 million, which would probably be fine. Like, that would probably be good under the assumption that he has 4 or 5 good, solid, productive seasons where he can make up a lot of that WAR, and then you only need him to be like a 1 WAR player in the back half of his 30s. So, but that's not. Now I'm fantasizing. Now I'm. Oh my God! I just got this warm
I think
feeling.
we both agree here, Rafe. He loses about $100 million this year if the extension isn't signed.
Yes.
Like, bare minimum, like $100 million has gone off his value.
Which, by the way, like, this is something that John has said constantly, but like, we chose to make last year his free agent season instead of doing this year because we bought into all the bullshit of like, oh, it's going to be hanging over the clubhouse, or oh, it's just going to be like, it's good. So we were the marks. You know what I mean? Like, the front office were marks.
True.
And I want to maybe take a little bit of the burden off of AJ Preller for a second. It's very clear that Peter Seidler wanted this done, and AJ might have just been forced to get this done and forced to sign a bad contract, in which we just goes back to, again, it's like Peter Seidler could be completely happy with AJ Preller because he signed his guy to a long term. Like, what, like, and then it's like that question that gets uncomfortable. It's like, do we have an ownership problem again? Comes a little bit more to the surface, correct?
Yeah, I mean, my answer would be I think he would opt in. I think he would have kept the contract because this year, if everything else stays the same, then Machado winds up being like the number one negative character of this story, as he held the franchise hostage for a new deal while putting together a terrible season and not giving it his all. And the team winds up in the 70-win, territory. And it's like, oh, and now we're going to give you a big raise? And it would have come back to the logic we had at the very beginning, which was like, the first half of this contract's great, and if he opts out of the second half and he goes sign somewhere else, then we got the best part of his career at a completely fair and reasonable price, and someone else will overpay for his mid to late 30s. So, what you said at the end, though, Raphie, was the most important thing. If Peter Seidler, the ultimate mark, had been ultimately conned, essentially, was 100% bought in, it just didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was going to happen either way. But to answer the question theoretically, if none of the stuff had happened, I think Manny would just be in a terrible spot, injured, hitting under 250 and having this awful year.
Just on the flip side of that, you don't think that that poisonous cloud wouldn't be enough to make him go, I can get more money guaranteed elsewhere. Let's go do that.
Do you think if Machado had not been given the statue contract, that maybe if there was a leadership spike, an issue between himself and Xander Bogaerts, that Xander would have felt much more comfortable confronting Manny Machado, thinking this is going to be my clubhouse and you're on the way out. And I'm not going to put up with your BS because I'm sick of it and I'm going to be here for 10 years and we're not going to run it this way. And if you don't like it, opt out and get out.
I don't know where the BS is. I know there's BS somewhere, Craig. I'm not allowed in the dugout to find it.
Fair. Yeah, that was rife with assumption. I understand.
The security
all
guards
of it's completely speculative.
Yeah. It's Troy O'Leary paradox. It's the idea that we can't. Because, by the way, if the team makes the same commitment to Xander and Manny opts out, you can just move Kim to third base. And he plays a great third base. And you could extend Ha-Sung Kim, and it would probably be fine. You know what I mean? And you could have Cronenworth at second, and then you could bring in a first baseman. And, even if the team is we are sticking with Xander Bogaerts at shortstop because this is Xander's team and blah, 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 that's actually, not a terrible outcome, assuming that you can do other things around the edges. So, yeah.
We also got a question in the chat while we were doing this, if it's a good idea to move Xander Bogaerts to first base, and I just want to answer that quickly with
no. It is not. It's not. It is not a good idea because he's not a first baseman. You want to ask Jake Cronenworth if that's a good idea because look at what's happened to his value.
The question's presumption was that shortstop's a valuable position, so you want your best hitter there, and that's actually just not how it works. Shortstop's actually usually a great defender that may not be the best with the bat. That's why guys like Tatis, who play decent shortstop defensively and hit 40 home runs, are insanely valuable. So Xander's way more, he's getting better offensive production than you would assume out of the shortstop position, I think, just always, perpetually. It's his defense, and his defense has been fine.
His season has been fine. Not good. Not good.
He gets too much shit. I know he hits into double plays, but his season's been fine.
No, he's been one of the worst clutch hitters I've seen in terms of a veteran hitter all year. Every pop fly to the right side with runners on second and third, every little soft fly ball on the right side, every routine ground ball, the 20 double plays. He's not a 5 hitter. He's killed this offense in the 5 slot. But the thing that we continually hit Xander Bogaerts for is the thing he's done the best all year, which is defend. He's been perfectly capable as the Padres shortstop. He's made several very good plays. The team's turned plenty of double plays. He hasn't been a liability at shortstop to me in any way. Sure, there's been the handful of plays. There's a handful of plays for everybody. Ha-Sung Kim has 5 errors in the last week. It can happen. We just know that Ha-Sung Kim has the potential to be a better defensive shortstop than Xander Bogaerts. So we're angry at a ghost. We're angry at the ghost of what Kim would be if he was there compared to what Bogaerts might be if he was at second base. And probably that would reverse and be better for the team if next year Bogey was at second and Kim was at shortstop. But honestly, he's been okay as a shortstop. The problem is he hasn't been the type of impact hitter that you pay $28 million for.
Yeah.
Can I, maybe we can do this another time. I have my OOTP simulation up and I've been playing up. I'm in the middle of the 2028 season and it's just very fun to go and look and see how everyone does. But we can do this. I can share next time. I can share my screen and I can show you. But I think we're getting to the end of
I can't wait.
End of the time here on Padres Hot Tub Group Therapy.
Well, let me just say this out of the chat, and then we can wrap the show, because Preller lives to make me hurt. nice screen name. Says, Can we schedule a group therapy for the day after the season ends so we can go through the inevitable athletic article that is going to detail what's been going on behind the scenes throughout the season? And my answer is yes.
Please.
Yes, of course.
I
We'll probably
want that.
do 3 hours that day.
Yeah, for sure. I that's all I've been begging for, man, for like the past 2 months is just some fucking answers. Just like let us know like like we're getting to see to go back to the Benjamin Franklin reference. We see the aircraft carrier burning in the bay. We just want to know who started it, and we're hoping that the military doesn't blame it on the the ensign who didn't start it. They
Yeah.
blame it on the process that led to the massive loss in the first place. The Padres have a perfectly apt metaphor for their season, for that accident that happened 4 years ago.
I could have sworn you said, was that the USS Abraham Lincoln?
No, it wasn't the Lincoln. It was the Benjamin Franklin.
Or
I
Franklin.
think.
I
Smaller.
literally thought you were talking about like something that happened in the war in 1812.
No.
I was like, oh wait, is this when the White House was attacked? Or?
No, what happened was, if you notice, the Russians have been training beluga whales, okay? And around the same time the Benjamin Franklin burned up, there was a beluga whale spotted off the coast of San Diego. It never happens. So what happened, for everybody listening, the Russians sent a beluga whale and it burned down our aircraft carrier. Then they tried to blame it on this poor schmuck. They tried to run him up the mast. They tried to mess him up. And some good reporters got in the way. And they didn't find the beluga whale, and the good reporters didn't report that. This is an exclusive from your buddy Chris Reed. But that's what we're hoping doesn't happen with the Padres. They find the beluga whale who's responsible for the fire, and they fire that beluga whale or demote him to director of scouting.
Have the Dodgers trained SEALs to come to La Jolla Cove and fuck up our mojo?
Maybe that's what it is. We're gonna find these answers, and maybe Dennis Slim will beat us, but we're gonna try.
Are they Navy SEALs? Are they Army SEALs? Which SEAL is it? Are they Sea Lions? Okay, on this extremely absurd note, we bring an end to this show. I hope everybody has an incredible Labor Day weekend. Everybody stay safe. Have a great time. We'll be back Tuesday with a brand new show. And maybe the Padres will lose all the games in between here and there, and we'll get closer to our true dream of satisfaction, of staring up at the Nationals and staring up at every other horseshit franchise, the Pirates, and everyone else, and going, oh, you guys with your $50 million payroll, we spent 5 times as much to be worse than you. Yeah. Check us out. Let's not be observant or self-reflective in our autopsy. Okay, let's find out what happens. Everyone have a great weekend.
Go Tank. Go Team Tank.